Hello, I'm Amanda. I'm the owner of PurplePup Pet Transportation, and 90% of the time I will be the one who's traveling with your dog, cat, or rabbit as they try to get across the country. I know you have a lot of options out there when it comes to choosing the right pet transporter for your family, so I'm hoping by illustrating some of the services that I offer that it will give you a peace of mind and a sense of trust about putting your babies in my hands for your next move or adoption. I'm a USD registered company, and I have positive public reviews on Google and Facebook that will hopefully give you peace of mind that I have many happy clients out there and many happy pups and kitties and bunnies that have made it home safely. We have quite a few options here. We offer both flight nanny services and ground transport options, and I'd like to take you through a few of those options that we have so that you can figure out what is going to be best for you and your upcoming move. There will be a time-stamped menu bar down at the bottom so that you can hop to the service option that you're most interested in hearing about right now. Let's start with our most popular service option, which is our flight nanny service. And this is designed for your little dogs, cats, and rabbits, anything under 20 pounds that can fly with us inside the cabin of the plane as a carry-on. Flight nanny services are a great way to get your pet home in just a few hours. Our services are typically airport to airport, but we can also provide door to door, full service, whatever your family needs in order to get your pet home quickest and safest. We find that this option is best for new puppies that are coming home, for rabbits, which can fly on a few select airlines, and cats who maybe wouldn't do so well on the 3-day drive. We can get them home within just a few hours and make it completely stress-free. Your pet travels with us inside the cabin of the plane as a carry-on, and we're with him the entire time. No scary cargo vans, no cargo flights, just one-on-one inside the cabin of a plane with a friendly companion. We want you and your pet to have the best start possible, and that all begins with getting him home quickly, safely, and stress-free. We fly from any US airport. We love the big ones, the small ones. Anywhere your pet needs to go, we'll help you find the best possible flight that fits your budget and your schedule. This is our popular white glove service so that you can make sure your pets have the safest trip home. This little guy here is Rundle, and Rundle was a combination of ground transport and flight nanny services. I was able to pick him up from his breeder's home. She lived maybe an hour and a half away from the closest airport, and I just happened to be going through that area, so it made sense that I could pick him up. We could go to the nearest airport in Phoenix, and then we would fly him directly to his home in Redding, California. I made sure that Rundle had everything he needed for his flight. I purchased a confirmed seat, I made a pet reservation with the airline, and I made sure that I had a pet carrier and potty pads and a blanket and a toy so that he had something to entertain himself as we were going along our way. And his whole family was there waiting for us at the airport whenever we landed. The great thing about flight nanny services, though, is that it's not just for young puppies and kittens. It can also be for your adult dogs that are still under that 20-pound mark. For example, I helped these two cats move from Boston to Los Angeles. They flew with me inside the cabin of the plane. And I know, like many of you out there, you don't have just one pet. You've got to have 2 or 3, and there are options for them as well. Sometimes we can put 2 pets in one pet carrier. Sometimes we can purchase an additional seat so that we can take 2 pet carriers, and sometimes we'll use multiple flight nannies in order to get all of your pets home on the same flight. Plus, as a bonus, maybe you're moving and you need someone to travel with you and your pets on the same flight. We can definitely do that as well with our travel nanny services. Sometimes you just need an extra hand, or it's just helpful to have someone who's familiar with this process of going through an airport with a pet. We can be there to assist you to help you with your family move. For example, I traveled from Maui to Kansas City, Missouri with these 2 beautiful dachshunds and their owner. After 40 years on the island, she was ready to move back to the mainland, but she needed help. She had 2 15-pound dogs, and it's a little hard to manage by yourself, and she could really use the help of someone who is familiar with this process. It's kind of stressful moving, so having someone who could be solely responsible for the pets was really a big relief. I booked both of our tickets. I made 2 reservations for her dachshunds. I was even able to rent a car and pick her up from her home before our flight. Because I fly so much, I often get free upgrades. So for this particular trip, we actually got an upgrade to first class for our trip from Maui to Seattle. So not only were her dogs comfortable because they could be with her, but she was also relieved because she was in the hands of a professional. Our travel flight nanny services are great for just these kind of moves moves when you need an extra hand and you're a little bit stressed out and you need someone who just has experience with this and can handle the complexities of traveling with pets long distance. Our travel nanny services are a great way to help relieve the stress of your next family move. Okay, so what about the dogs that are maybe too big to fly? That's where our ground transportation options come in handy. We have a couple of different options when it comes to ground transport. One is private transport, and that is just your dog on board, or maybe you have 2 or 3 dogs that need to travel all together. We have lots of options to help them get home safely. With private transport, your pets are the only ones on board, and we are customizing the entire experience to fit your needs, your schedule, and the needs of your pets. Maybe your dog has a special diet, they need refrigerated food, maybe they have medication, maybe they're senior doggos and they have to wear a diaper or they don't pee on a leash. There are all kinds of complexities to take into account, but trust me, I've heard it all. Nothing surprises me, nothing scares me. Your dog can still have a safe and comfortable trip home no matter what his special circumstances are. With private ground transportation, we are picking your dog up from your home and delivering him to your home or whatever your final destination is. Our services are door to door. You get GPS tracking and lots of photo updates of our adventure. For example, here's Arlo. I traveled with Arlo from Green Bay to Dallas-Fort Worth. His dad is an NFL player. Arlo's family had a last-minute request. They needed him picked up within the week, and so I was able to fly out there, rent a car, pick him up, drive him to his destination. He's still just a puppy, but he's a little bit too big to fly, so private ground transportation was the best way for him to get home, and I could fill up my trunk with all of his belongings. This doggy had so many toys, blankets, big bags of food, so private transport was the best way for him to get all of his belongings home to him quickly, safely, and on time. On our drive from Green Bay to Dallas, Texas, we also had some weather. So fortunately, I was able to divert that weather and adjust our schedule a little bit. And because he was my only passenger, we only had one schedule to kind of move around a little bit. Private ground transport, we can usually get coast to coast in just 5 days. I tend to drive sun up to sundown, and we're staying in pet-friendly hotels. It's also possible to offer an express trip where we can get coast to coast in just 3 days. Maybe your family's moving, but your schedule is a little bit flexible and you're on a budget. This is when our semi-private transport option becomes the best fit for you. With semi-private transport, I'm usually traveling with just 2 or 3 pets total in my minivan. I'm still able to give each of your pets the care and attention that they need, but it becomes a little bit more accessible by cost sharing the experience. Most of my passengers are going to be created during semi-private transport. That way everybody has their own safe space to travel. Pets from different families are always going to stay separate from one another just because you never know how dogs are going to react while they're in transport. And of course, you're still going to get GPS tracking and daily photo updates. You're always going to know where we are along the way, and we're going to cater our experience to the needs of your dog. If they need a little bit of extra walk time in the mornings, if they have special food or medication, of course, those can always be accommodated as well. Here's a great example of a semi-private transport where I had just 2 dogs, Zorro and Misa. Zorro was a rescue that was being rehomed from a breeder in Arizona to a new family up in upstate New York. And Misa was moving from one family member to another from California to New York. So they were a perfect pair to put together on this trip coast to coast. Misa was a little bit nervous being inside of a crate, but after 2 days on the road, she made herself really comfortable. We got to know each other. She trusted me and was able to relax a little bit. I delivered Misa to her grandmother's house in Brooklyn, New York, and Zorro's mom actually agreed to meet me along the way to help her save a little bit on her transport. So we met in Massachusetts so that she could continue her journey home to upstate New York. One other way that we see people needing ground transportation is for seasonal transit. So maybe you have 2 homes, maybe you're a snowbird, and you need to shuttle your pets between one home to another home seasonally. These become some of my favorite repeat clients. For example, this is Tio. He lives in Colorado and also in California, and I see him 3 or 4 times a year. I shuttle him between his 2 homes, and sometimes it's just me and Tio, and sometimes we have 1 or 2 other pets on board. I so look forward forward to seeing Tio every single time. He is just the best dog. And because we have a relationship, sometimes we get to go on adventures together, and I'll just let his family know, hey, is it okay if we take an extra day? We're gonna go for a hike somewhere in Utah. And they're like, yeah, go for it. We're home, we're ready for him whenever he gets here. So perk for me, perk for the family. It works all the way around. All right, so that's just a quick summary of the kind of services that we offer here at PurplePup Pet Transportation. And I would love to personally hear from you. Whether you're moving or adopting a new pet, I'm here for you to help your pet get home quickly and safely. So let's chat about what your options are. You can reach out to me at amanda@purplepup.net. I look forward to hearing from you.